Hello, I'm the Analyst, and I'm here to talk about Hollywood's biggest box office flops. And today we're returning to the animation powerhouse DreamWorks, who we previously encountered several months ago with Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. And the studio is about to release their second film of the year, Captain Underpants, after releasing Boss Baby at the end of March. What we're going to talk about today, we'll be going back a decade, when DreamWorks had much more of a place among the animation market, only rivaled by Pixar, though at the time CG animation was losing its place as an event with the release of such films as The Wild, Hoodwinked, Everyone's Hero, and The Ant Bully. DreamWorks had shown its strength with the first two Shrek films, Madagascar, and even Over the Hedge, and with this film they'll be working with Aardman Animation, a studio well known for stop-motion features Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, both of which DreamWorks had distributed as part of a 5-film deal. Of course, after this film's failure, the relationship was severed at just 3 films. What film could break apart this partnership? That film, of course, is Flushed Away. The 2006 animated feature takes to the sewers of London, where pampered rat Roddy must find his way back to his home after being flushed down the toilet by an intruder, only to get tangled up in the conflict between the rats of the sewers and the amphibians who want to get rid of them. That's pretty much the gist of the story. And it's worth noting that this was supposed to be a stop-motion animated feature, but because of the technical issues, Aardman was having troubles integrating the water with the stop-motion sets and characters. It wound up being computer generated, and it tried to look like it was a stop-motion. Of course, the way the characters look oftentimes falls into the uncanny valley, i.e. the creepiness. They just don't look right. So how about the rest of the film? Let's find out. The film opens with a couple of humans leaving their flat in Kensington, London, in the UK, to go to the World Cup finals between England and Germany, leaving their pet rat, Roddy St. James, voiced by Hugh Jackman, alone. Okay, where did all the food the girl gave Roddy go? One scene, it was all over his cage. The next, it's gone. Did Roddy eat it all? Did he move it all in between scenes? Roddy enjoys his solo time driving around with the dolls, almost trying on the Wolverine outfit, golfing, playing volleyball, and watching a movie. But when he hears a noise, he cowers behind a soldier doll, setting up his character arc to evolve from a coward. He soon finds the intruder to be a slob rat from the sewers named Sid, voiced by Shane Ritchie, and promptly he begins to gorge out and mess up the house. Roddy attempts to get rid of Sid by flushing him down a toilet, but Sid ends up flushing Roddy down the toilet, which was a jacuzzi brand, and sends Roddy down the sewer. Roddy finds himself in a rat city that looks a lot like London and seeks a way back to Kensington, where a fisherman rat tells him to go to the Jammy Dodger, who can get him back to the surface. And for those of you who don't know, a Jammy Dodger is a British shortbread cookie with jam, usually strawberry or raspberry. Roddy boards the boat only to meet the captain, Rita, voiced by Kate Winslet, and Roddy quickly earns her ire by exposing her and getting her captured by rodents Spike and Whitey, voiced by Andy Serkis and Bill Nye. Not Bill Nye the Science Guy. And the two henchmen fit the archetype of stereotypical villain henchman duos. Spike is the smart and meaner one, while Whitey is the softer, dumb one. And they also take a ruby Rita had stolen, along with Rita and Roddy, to their boss, the Toad, voiced by Ian McKellen. Roddy attempts to get the Toad's help in returning to the surface, but soon enrages him by ruining his collection of surface items, sending him and Rita to be frozen by liquid nitrogen. However, the two escape and Rita steals a master cable, ultimately using it as a belt after her pants slip, and Toad demands that his henchmen get the cable back. Escaping onto the Jammy Dodger, Roddy reveals that Rita's ruby is a fake, breaking it much to her dismay as she intended to sell the ruby to support her massive family. But Roddy promises her a real ruby if she can get him home. She agrees and takes him to her family house in order to acquire her father's map so she can reach the surface. But in the process, Roddy mistakenly believes that she intends to betray him after overhearing a conversation with her father and one of her brothers, along with Rita, so he hijacks her boat. She quickly catches up and regains control of her ship, forcing him onto a rubber duck, stranding him, but he is able to latch on and is able to resume their deal by singing a song with the help from the slugs. Oh, the slugs. They are supposed to be the equivalent of the minions, or rather a predecessor, as they were in 2006 and the minions came out in 2010. Are they supposed to be charming or are they annoying? That depends. They have some charming moments, but they also have their annoying moments. If you like the minions, you'll probably like the slugs. And if you don't like the minions, you'll definitely not like the slugs. Anyway, the two get pursued by Spike and Whitey, but are easily evaded. Angered by their failure, the Toad calls on his cousin, the Frog, voiced by Jean Reno. Why did you wait until now to call him in? You could have called him in at the beginning and thus you'd have Rita and the cable. We also learn that the Toad was originally the pet of Prince Charles, only to be replaced with a rat. And after being flushed down the toilet, he now resents rodents. So why did you employ rats instead of amphibians? Isn't that kind of hypocritical, hiring the people you hate to serve you? And based on the flashback, the Toad would be well in his 40s. Could he survive that long? Well, the common toad, the bufo, can live over 40 years in captivity, but around a little more than a decade in the wild. And I'm honestly not sure whether or not the sewer counts as captivity. You know what, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. So yes, he could still be alive. Le Frog and his minions find Roddy and Rita, and prove to be more of a challenge than the rodents, but Roddy and Rita escape with the cable and make it to the surface, only for the Jammy Dodger to sink in the process. The two arrive at Roddy's home, and Roddy gives her some gems for her work. But as they go around the house, Rita realizes that Roddy is a pet, after seeing nobody else there as well as his cage. But Roddy attempts to pass off Sid as his brother, only for Sid and Rita to know each other, and Rita leaves, both her and Roddy heartbroken as the two have developed feelings for each other. As Sid and Roddy watch the World Cup, Sid's comments make Roddy realize what the Toad has been planning. The cable Rita stole controls the floodgates of the sewer, and at halftime, the number of toilets being flushed will create a massive wave that will flood out the rats, allowing the Toad's tadpoles to thrive. Realizing Rita is in danger, Roddy has Sid flush him back down to the Rat City, finding Rita tied up, and that Toad has the cable preparing to enact his plan. Roddy frees her, only to face off with Spike, Whitey, the Frog, and the Toad. I just thought of something. Being flushed down and replaced with a rat is enough to try to commit rat genocide? Isn't that sorta extreme? And what, were you gonna kill Spike and Whitey, too? You know, your plan has quite a few holes in it. Roddy is able to get a liquid nitrogen pipe to break, causing the liquid nitrogen to freeze the water wave heading toward the Rat City, saving them from the Toad, who is left stuck against a wall. Rita rebuilds the Jammy Dodger with the gems she got from Roddy, bigger and better with Roddy's help, and they set sail with the rest of Rita's family to parts unknown. And the film ends with Sid at Roddy's house only to find his owners have a cat. Meow! And we also learned that England lost on penalty kicks. Did we really need to know that? It could have just been ambiguous. And besides, they could have just let it be that England won on penalty kicks. Maybe something a little happier? But we really didn't need to know what happened. Now, is Flushed Away good? Well, it didn't have as much toilet humor as I feared, but unfortunately there are still a few instances. And while this was computer generated, their attempts to make it look like a stop motion feature results in the uncanny valley, as I said before. Overall, there were a few good visual gags and a couple of sharp moments, but overall, it's a little more than okay. Of course, there was also a bit of executive meddling, part of DreamWorks, who forced Aardman to change it from a pirate theme. This was before Pirates of the Caribbean, though Aardman would later do a pirate movie in 2012. And they were also forced to tone down their British sense of humor in favor of a more American style. And the deadline imposed forced them to use CGI rather than stop motion, as well as the technical reasons. While DreamWorks and Aardman would produce the film at a cost of $149 million, the film would be distributed through DreamWorks' new owner, Paramount, with another $60 million or so spent in marketing and distribution. The cartoon would debut in third place with $18.8 million, a bit behind fellow family opener Santa Claus 3: The Escape Clause, and well behind what actually took number one that weekend, the surprise hit Borat. That wasn't a good day to open, as the two pictures, Santa Claus and Flushed Away, each took a bite out of the other's audience. Though, studio claimed they were contractually obligated to take that date, or rather to keep that date. As for word of mouth, audiences awarded it a B+ cinema score, which for a family film is generally below average. However, with an assist from the Veterans Day holiday the following weekend, it eased just 12% to $16.6 million. But in its third weekend, Happy Feet entered theaters and Flushed Away got hammered by the competition, plummeting 60% to $6.6 million. It would end its run after 17 weeks in play with $64.67 million in the US of A. In its overseas run, it fared somewhat better, though it didn't quite reach the heights of the prior two Aardman films, Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, making just $113.45 million internationally, with the largest market being the United Kingdom, as expected, with France in a distant second. Flushed Away would make $178.12 million worldwide, and after theaters take their cut of the gross, DreamWorks would see back $74.4 million, most likely covering the ad spend, though very little of the hefty production budget. As a result, DreamWorks and Aardman never did another film again, and Aardman subsequently jumped ship to Sony for the next couple of features. The estimated theatrical loss on this film is $132.6 million. Thanks for watching, press the like button, be sure to subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at Tyler the Analyst.
The cable, the one you're now wearing, as a belt.